Welcome back, everyone. This is Mona's Take. I am Mona Rose, your host. Tonight we're going to be covering the Big Brother episode and the night live feeds. We'll start out with the episode on tonight. Before we get there, if you don't mind, please like and subscribe. It helps my channel grow. I'm hoping to see this go far in the future, so I'm going to be belting them out, anything reality TV. Alright, so tonight's episode. Just to recap, Misha was HOH, and she nominated Carson and Mariah. Carson was supposed to be the pawn. Mariah was supposed to be the target. Fast forward to the POV competition, and your winner was Carson. He slayed it. Like 3 minutes and something. The next person even close to him was almost 9 minutes. So he killed that competition. I think he's going to be a beast, and he's going to pull it out when he has to. And we'll see how that goes. So of course he took himself off the block. And Todrick was in Misha's ear enough to where she put up Teddy. Even after she said she wouldn't, but Todrick convinced her that Carson was the biggest threat in the game, and if they couldn't get him out, they might as well take out his right hand, which, according to Todrick, was Teddy. So Teddy goes on the block. Of course, she's upset because she feels like this is the worst way to go out. You don't have a chance to defend yourself. And like I said last night, I think week 1 backdoor, that I think it's too early. Even though there's only 11 of them in there and it's such a short game, I think week 1 is too early to do that. But it happened. Teddy's campaigning, trying to get everything. She do everything that she can to keep herself safe. Comes down to the nomination ceremony. And Julie Chen announces the curse for Wonmon. Curse that kept Cynthia safe. And it is what we expected. Another person is nominated. We thought Cynthia would get to nominate that other person and pull somebody off, but that's not quite how it worked. They used the purse again to pass around. And only this time, the last person with the purse was the one nominated. And they got to choose who come down. So it was down to Lamar and Todd. And Chris Kattan had the bag. He chose to give it to Lamar, which in turn had to give it to Todd, so Todd had to be the one to go on the block. To my surprise, he pulled off Mariah. I really thought he'd pull off Teddy, but he pulled off Mariah. So that gained him 1 vote to stay right there. They ended up a 5-4 vote. And a couple of them surprised me. I honestly thought Cynthia was going to vote to evict Teddy after Todd went out. But she didn't. She stuck to her word. She did not vote to evict Teddy. She voted to evict Todd. Shanna surprised me because she voted to evict Teddy. This is supposed to be her ally. This is supposed to be her friend in the game. And it would have easily been a 4-4 vote, and then Misha would have had to break the tie. But Shanna didn't go that route. She voted to evict Teddy. So Teddy was the first house guest evicted. The live feeds didn't come on for a little while, so I thought they might have went right into the HOH competition. But they finally did come back on, and they were eating, and they were talking, and no real gameplay, anything going on. And about maybe 30 minutes ago or so, which would be about 10 o'clock, the feeds went down again. And they've been down since 10 o'clock, so I'm assuming they're doing the HOH competition now. So I will be watching for that, and we'll finish out the video on the live feeds So right now I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to wait for the feeds to come back up, see what I can find out. We'll finish the video and I'll get it posted tonight. Thank you guys. Hey everybody. How you doing? Our HOH is Chris Kirkpatrick. The feeds came back on and he is talking to a little bit of everyone, trying to get their take on what he should do. The first conversation that he has is with Todd. And Todd is telling him that he needs to put up Carson and Cynthia. Evidently, Todd is really butthurt the fact that Cynthia voted against him. Even though she had given her word to Teddy, he feels like she should have broke that word and voted for him. To the extent that he made the comment that her husband was going to be really mad when he found out how she voted. I don't see Mike Hill being upset with her for keeping her word. Cynthia's always been a person of her word, and I don't think she's going to stop now. He also doesn't think that Mariah should be put on the block because she was on the block last week and she had such a hard time. So he thinks that she should stay off the block. He also, Chris was asking questions like, what do you think about Todrick? What do you think about Cynthia? What do you think about Carson? And so Chris was asking the questions and Todd was answering them. When it came to Todrick, oh, he's solid as they come. He's not jumping ship. He stays loyal. Even though Cynthia didn't, which Chris came right out and said, do you think that Todrick would jump ship or go with whoever's in power? And he said no. He said he's not like that. He's not like Cynthia. Like Cynthia went back on and was, how did he work? He said that Cynthia shifted and that Todrick would not shift. Cynthia did not shift. Cynthia did exactly what Cynthia said she was going to do. And he can't handle that. The more I see him playing the game, the less I like him. So that conversation went on, and they got through, and they were leaving out, and Chris met up with Cynthia. I just knew at the moment that Cynthia was blowing up her game. She is so brutally honest that it's not even funny. She came out and told him that he was on her radar as far as putting her up because he was on the other side of the house. And so if she had gotten HOH, she was going to put him up. I'm like, Cynthia, the man is HOH. You don't tell him that unless he asks. And he didn't ask. She offered. But they had a really good conversation, and Cynthia just told him, she said, I'm a person of my word. And she said, I'm not going to go back on my word. Okay, I'm sorry, I've got to get back to the Todd conversation for a moment because he said something. There's a couple of things that were said tonight. He told Chris not to put Lamar up because he didn't want his boy getting in trouble. He didn't want him to be put in the position to where he would get himself in trouble. And then later on, Chris said something about Lamar. He said, I'm not really worried about Lamar. He'll just take his mic off and then the feed's cut. So I don't quite know what's going on with that. Because Lamar looks like a big old teddy bear, so I don't know if there may be something going on there, but I'm going to keep an eye on that. So anyway, back to Chris and Cynthia. She was just brutally honest with him. She's like, if you feel like you need to put me up and send my butt home, then send my butt home. Because if I'm going to go home for keeping my word, then that's the way I want to go out. My kids will be proud of me. My husband will be proud of me. And I'm okay with that. And I mean, she was laying it all on the line. I was like, Cynthia, shut up. Please shut up. And I think if it had been anybody else other than Chris Kirkpatrick, it probably would have tanked her. She probably would have been on the block no matter what. And he asked Cynthia how she felt about Todrick. And she goes into the whole how he shifted alliances and blew up the alliances and all that. And Chris even stopped her at one point and he said, hold on, don't tell me all your game. I don't want to get you in trouble. Just, tell me what you think about him. You think he'll be loyal. And Cynthia said, I think he's going to shift to wherever the power is. Well, then Carson comes up and he joins the convo. And he tells Chris, don't put me out. You can do whatever you want as long as you don't put me on the block. And kind of jokes around about it, but he's serious. He's like, dude, you need to take out the people that are going to be threats. He's like, Cynthia and I are not a threat to you. And even though, the sides of the house, I guess the lines have been drawn and they're on opposite sides of the house. But Carson said, we're not coming for you. You're not even on our radar. Don't worry about it. And then Misha came up there and the conversation stopped really abruptly. And they sat up there and they chatted for a while. And then I'm sorry, I'm tired. It's 3 o'clock in the morning here. So I'm trying to get these videos to where I can get them uploaded, get them edited, and get them posted before I go to bed. So that you guys have this stuff when you wake up in the morning. If you're not staying up all night like I am, they're there for you. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm going to have to do a little bit better time management than what I'm doing. But we'll get there. I'm a little bit confused by Shanna at the moment. Because when the live feeds came back up, Todrick and Shanna are talking. And they're talking about how they're safe and how it feels good and all this stuff since Chris got HOH because he's in their alliance. And they were talking about having each other's backs and it really made me think that those two are tighter than what they are. But then later on in the evening, Chris Kirkpatrick calls Shanna outside and they go outside and they sit and they talk. And it's like they're working together, like they're joined at the hip. And I did not see this, did not notice it on the lives that they were even a thing. And by a thing, I mean their partners are working together to get to the end. And bouncing ideals off each other. And Chris keeps telling her, this is our HOH. It's not just my HOH, it's our HOH. So you've got to help me make this decision. And they talked and they threw a bunch of different names around and discussed the pros and cons. And it sounds to me like, so it looks like their game plan at this point is to put up Mariah and Todrick, with Mariah being the target. So we'll see where that leads. But it looks like Chris is thinking very seriously about putting up Todrick as a pawn and Mariah as his target to get out of the house. That way he keeps his alliance safe, which is his number one goal. Or his number one goal is to play his game. But with him being HOH, he wants to keep his team safe. But then he needs to do what's best for his game. And he does not think that his game will be best served by putting up Carson and Cynthia. And I hope to God he doesn't. Because I love them. I want them to stay. We shall see how that works out. So it's been a long night. I'm going to get off here and get this edited. And I will have another video out probably tomorrow night at some point after the live feeds, see what's going on all day tomorrow with the nominations and things of that sort. So you all have a nice night. Remember, if you haven't, like and subscribe, help my channel grow. And as always, much love.